so excited. I'm so excited. I did not know today was 444.
Yeah, it's my favorite number.
Woo!
What? 444 is your favorite? I thought 44 was your favorite number.
No, it's 444. We were talking about this the last like 4 weeks.
You're not going to make it over in some countries because 4 is considered the number of death. That's death, death, death.
That's okay.
Which is better than death, death.
I take it.
It's like a double negative.
Oh, it's a triple negative. It's still death.
I'm going to embrace my triple death.
The moon sets, but it does not disappear. The sun sets, but it does not disappear. 444 happens, but Board Game Breakfast is here, everybody. How's it going?
Good morning and welcome. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee. And I don't have a favorite number.
You don't have a favorite color, really, either.
Not really.
You have a favorite color?
No.
My favorite color is bright.
I could see that.
It's actually true. If it's a bright color, I'm on board. Probably purple is my favorite, but anyhow.
I like the blue-green spectrum.
This episode is sponsored by Forbidden Games, and that's why we have Mosaic here, because Mosaic is an amazingly good civilization game, and we played it live, but we also just reviewed it. I really like it. Looking forward to playing it some more. Very enjoyable game, and you still have a chance right now if you want to pre-order it. It's coming out to backers of the Kickstarter soon, but you can still jump on board with that. Is there a link in the description where people can do that, Mike? Or
I believe there will be.
There will be a link in the description, yes. So anyway, check out Mosaic. Lots of fun. It's the best of this genre, I think, actually. So thank you to Forbidden Games.
I still need to try that one then.
Yeah, I think you would like it, actually.
Okay.
Is cruise stuff on sale still?
Yes. Was that why you wore the shirt?
Yes.
Hey.
You could actually, the tickets for Dice Tower Cruise and Dice Tower West are on sale. We are 2 weeks away from Dice Tower Retreat, which I am busy with, but also looking forward to a lot.
I'm excited about it.
So looking forward to it.
I'm less looking forward to and busy for Essen, which is only a month away, and the World Series of Board Game.
You heard it here first. Tom Vasel says Florida's better than Germany.
I actually do believe that. That's not a... It's okay to like the place you're at, right? I guess if I lived in Germany, I would say the opposite. I mean, I would say wherever I am, I can say it's the best place to be. So I like Florida. I really do like Florida. There's nowhere else you can get a good key lime shake, just as a heads up. I am seriously considering doing that today.
Ooh.
Today is Labor Day, and so we'll be gone at noon here. Well, you know what? That's stuff to talk about later. So anyway, we got lots of stuff coming up for you. There's something else I should tell you to do, but I can't remember what it is, so I'll mention it later. Let's go to some contributors.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Today we are looking at Factory Funner. Is it fun? We'll find out.
Is it more fun than a fun?
Yeah. 1 to 5 players. This is a tiling puzzle game. A bit like Tetris, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So yeah, it's like you're sort of trying to. It's a puzzle game basically. You're trying to connect reservoirs to machines and machines to other machines and laying down pieces
floor.
of pipe. Yeah. It's quite a brain burner. I mean, there's a lot going on in this game where you have to match all the criteria for the rules of laying out your machines and pipes and reservoirs, and you've got a limited amount of reservoirs. You've only got 4, one of each colour, and you've only got a couple of the collector vats.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 of those.
It gets busy, doesn't it? It gets very busy very quickly.
You're trying. The worst part about this game, I think, is that there's a real time element where you have to grab the machine. So you reveal the machines, the same number of machines as there are players. So in our case, two machines are revealed, and you want to grab the best one score-wise, because the score is then you minus the amount of pipes and reservoirs and machines that you kind of lay out to get to that machine.
Sometimes there's quite a lot of pipes you need to go around the whole factory.
So you're laying out all these pipes to get to that machine, and you end up getting a minus score. It's very complicated, very
complicated. I think it falls flat a bit for me.
Yeah, you didn't really like it, did you?
I like the pipes, but it's the colours and the numbers get all a bit confusing for me.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice game. It's quite a brain burner, like I say. I know that Z Garcia likes this a lot.
More for you than me.
Yeah, I like it, but I can see why you get frustrated by it, because it's very, very thinky, and you're playing a solitaire game, really, to be fair, apart from that real-time element where you stealing the top from the other player.
So our verdict?
Half. half up, half down. I'd like to try a higher player count, maybe.
Yes, up to 5 players,
Yeah.
so maybe better with 5.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's our thoughts on Factory Funner. Good-ish game.
Let us know what you think.
I like it. It's very pretty, though. Nicely made.
Yeah.
Anyway, enjoy the rest of breakfast. Hope you like this one. Check our full review on our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Okay, so going back 20 years ago, I don't have my computer with me today, but today we're talking about Mage Knight Dungeons. So did we talk about Mage Knight here in the past? I don't remember if we did or not.
Probably. You're talking about Mage Knight. Like 20 years ago was Mage Knight, the collectible game.
That's correct. Well, actually, it was more than, I think it was like 21 years ago. I forget. But
We might have
because
done it
Mage
last
Knight
year.
Dungeons was an expansion for it. Mage Knight, which nowadays, if I mention to a board gamer, they think of the popular board game. But I'll tell you, when that board game was announced, it blew my mind that A, it was going to be a Euro game, and B, Vasel was involved. Because Mage Knight was Mage Knight was HeroClix. HeroClix came from Mage Knight. I mean, they changed a lot of the rules. But Mage Knight, you had click dials, and you would move a certain distance. I think with Mage Knight, you still measured. Yeah, you still measured like a typical war game. And then when you hit the other person, you had special abilities. But if you got hit, you click down, and your special abilities would change. And it was okay.
It was collectible, right?
But oh my word, I bought a lot of it
Wow.
because it's collectible.
Did you buy more HeroClix or did you buy more of this?
I bought more of this, and I'll tell you why. Because this discouraged me from getting into a collectible thing. HeroClix sounded fun. I bought a little bit of it, but I also I wanted specific heroes, and I don't like the randomized hero thing. But also the game system was similar enough that Mage Knight kind of waned on me. Now HeroClix also had a board. I also moved to Korea and got into board gaming. So that's all those factors are why I didn't get really strong in the HeroClix. But anyway, Mage Knight Dungeon was an expansion for Mage Knight, which did add squares. And you did go through a dungeon of sorts, but it wasn't really a dungeon crawl. In fact, I found it to be tremendously disappointing, other than a bunch of new models, a bunch of new stuff, to the point where I took the rules for Hero Quest and used the Mage Knight stuff, and then we added a whole ton of rules, me and some other people on the internet. I was very bored at the time. So we had a lot of time, and we made up. I still have the rules set on my computer somewhere. I print out all these rules, and then I turned it into a role-playing game where we use Mage Knight dungeon figures as the things that the guys went through, and I just made up stuff, and found out that the group that I had to create at that point was the kind of people who just wanted to kill everything. I realized this because I had them come into the throne room, and it was supposed to be some political intrigue meeting, and they just decided to wipe everybody out.
Those are the best D&D groups.
They are not.
The murder hobo.
They are
as they
not.
Nope.
And I guess you could say then it's on me just to kill them all every time, but then you have to go through and make the new character sheets, and your world building that you built. Anyway, bunch of jerks. And if you're watching Joe, I said what I said. But anyhow, Mage Knight Dungeons is forgettable, unfortunately. Mage Knight was a cool thing. The fact that it was pre-painted miniatures blew my mind. But the click thing is okay. Mage Knight Dungeons was neat in its time, and you know what? If they came out with a new version that said it's modernized, I would 100% buy it.
And then
because
make up
I'd
your
be
own
curious.
rules and make up a role-playing game.
I don't do the whole make up your own rules thing anymore.
Oh, no, I was going to say that's really funny that we would do stuff like that too back in the day. Like, oh, I don't really like this thing that I bought. Let's just, play these different rules. Let's do that. Like, I don't do a lot of that anymore because, well, one, it takes a lot of creativity and effort, and two, there are hundreds of good games.
Yeah.
That's what
right
it is.
there.
There's more
better
games. 20 years ago, there was a lot of games, for sure. But there was not nearly the amount that we have now. And also, I would take one game, and even if I didn't like it, I'm like, how do we fix it?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, whatever. Sell it, get rid of it, move on.
Now, our daughter does the same thing, but doesn't fix it. She's often just wants to play with pieces and make up her own weird games.
She's breaking the games is what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was
Shame.
cool in its day, but 20 years later, Mage Knight Dungeons, no one knows anything about it. So there you go.
Except Tom.
What is up? My name is Matthew McCack, and this is Smashing Buttons and Slamming Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week, I'm continuing my top 1 series where I connect an entire genre of video games and I say my number 1 board game for that genre. And this week, I am talking about story-driven games. They're usually solo video games. I'm talking about like maybe the Batman series or I don't know, there's tons. I don't know, Batman came to mind. Yeah, so they're story driven and you're pretty much, you're going through whatever the story is telling you. There's not much open worldness going on usually in these games, although sometimes they have some sort of open world, but there's usually a linear story going on. And sometimes it could be that you have differing paths, but mainly I'm talking about story-driven video games. I would like to say that my number 1 board game for this is, oh my gosh, Forgotten Waters. So this is a fantastic pirate game. It is totally story-driven. It is a little bit open world and everything, but yeah, you're going along this story that this crazy captain is telling you, and you're completing objectives and everything, and you're also not only the overall story, but you're also completing like your own personal story as well to gain like legendary status and everything, which is really, really cool. And I absolutely love this game. It also has like a real-time element to it, which also reminds me of like video games where, you know, you're doing things in real time and Groot, please stop interrupting. That is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all next time.
All right. So what's going to be for today's Tower this week? Well, today in 49 minutes, Z is doing Epic. I didn't think Z liked Epic.
I don't think he does.
He's not going to like it after playing the app, I feel, because I did not like it after playing the app. But who knows?
But is the app at least epic?
It is not.
It's epic.
I'll be doing my Q&A today at 11 instead of noon, because we're going to be cutting out of here at noon. And then lots of reviews coming up this week. So I'm taking a look at the new Asking for Troubles. That's what that ridiculous mouth box is there with my kids. Jason Levine is going to be doing Blood on the Clock Tower. I'll be taking a look at the new Funkoverse stuff, Sleeping Queens 2. A sequel to a game that came out 17 years ago.
Same designer, right?
Yeah, she was 8 years old, so I guess she's 25 now.
Really?
Z and I are taking a look at Soul Forge. On Friday, we're doing live play of a game called The Fox Experiment from Pandasaurus Games. I'm talking about my top 10 Game Right games, showing you the new deluxe castles of Mad King Ludwig. We're finally reviewing Bag of Chips. And Nightfall and Ragnarok. Some big reviews coming up Sunday. The biggest thing of the week, though,
The review of Ahoy.
Oh, is Ahoy on it? I'm sorry. The second biggest thing is a review of Ahoy. The biggest thing is going to be the worst board game covers of all time. Dun, dun, dun. In which we will be letting you vote on them. I've compiled a list of ones I found to be pretty horrific thanks to a Facebook thread. If you find one that you think that wasn't sent to me, you can email me at tom@dicestar.com with a terrible box cover. Send me the picture, too. But we're going to vote on those and see which cover is the worst cover of all time. I don't know what's going to win, actually.
Are you going to have honorable mentions?
Well, it's going to be a whole process.
Not the whole bracket.
Oh.
Yeah, so people are going to vote, and then we'll go to the next bracket until we get to the final.
Live voting.
And you have to be there live on
That's true.
Thursday
I didn't understand this.
It's Thursday at 2 o'clock, right? Eastern?
Yes, Thursday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
You got to be there if you want to vote. If you have something that you feel is the ugliest board game cover of all time.
But if it's one that a lot of people have mentioned and people talk about it all the time, I probably already got it. But if you have one of those old 50s, 60s games, some of those covers are pretty horrific. Ooh. Or just some weird game that never got published a lot. I don't care. I'll take anything. So, yeah. Just as a heads up, though, as I keep saying, we will in a couple weeks do the best covers of all time, which will be a more fun, uplifting one. Actually, it'll be more uplifting. I don't think it'll be as fun. But anywho.
So get your mustard dogs and your little cheese hand and.
That's what's coming from the Dice. Oh, and tomorrow at the table with Isle of Cats. Frank West.
Frank West.
Frank West tomorrow. That's moved to tomorrow. We normally do it on Mondays, but it's be tomorrow. All right, let's keep moving.
Assalamu alaikum. Carcassonne is normally a competitive game, but once you end up playing it and you look at the board that what city have you developed, you collectively think that, oh, you have accomplished something good. It looks good on your table once you have made this giant city collectively together, even though you were playing competitively. And that's a unique thing about Carcassonne as compared to other tile-laying games, because in other tile-laying games you are just working on your specific board where you are working yourself. So what if Carcassonne was a pure cooperative game? And that's what the Carcassonne cooperative variant or Cooperative Carcassonne variant is going to actually provide you, which is a file available on the BGG file section. Now, how the scoring works in this is that you are not, of course, playing against each other, but you are playing against some milestones that the game has set for you, which would be making a giant city of 12 tiles, making a road which is 25 tiles long, and completing all the cloisters that are available in the base box, which are 6. If you are able to do those kind of objectives, then you have achieved those milestones and you will be winning the cooperative variant of Carcassonne. If you are unable, then you were unsuccessful. So if you like that kind of variation, then do try it in the cooperative mode. The same mode can be played in solo as well. So even though there are some dedicated solo modes, but I think this mode works just fine for solo as well, rather than having another rule set for solo modes. So if you are interested in this, get the file from the BGG file section. That's it from me. Happy gaming.
So I have 3 laws.
Wait. It's episode 444. You need to have 4 laws.
Yep. Not
Come up
happening.
with a new one right now.
Come up with a 4th law.
My first law is if a game is great, it will be reprinted with the caveat of IPs and legal troubles. But other than that, if it's a great game, it will be reprinted. I feel like I do not have to defend that even remotely.
Glory to Rome.
I believe, well,
Legal
IP
troubles.
problems, legal troubles.
Yeah.
But I firmly believe at this point I might want to change it to if the game is reasonably decent.
Right.
It's going to be reprinted.
It's going to get a 10th year anniversary edition with 1 extra bonus track, a live cut from a
if it's designed by
concert
Knizia,
somewhere,
it will be reprinted. So anyway.
and it'll have animals on.
My third law is not really a law. It's Tom's third rule, which is if you got it, spend it. I talked about that
that's
earlier.
number 3.
Yeah, that was
I
always
assumed that was number 1.
No. That's a rule for me that I've made after countless video games where I saved the mega elixirs and then never used them.
All right, I have a number
17
4.
at the end.
I have a number 4. If it's an IP that millennials are into, it will become a board game.
No. Also, it's my laws. That's terrible. What millennials? You mean Gen X? Gen X is what's happening right now. Goonies, E.T., all that stuff.
That's not Gen X. That's millennials.
If it's an IP,
That was our childhood. I'm
definitely
confused.
Gen X. E.T. came out in the 80s.
I guess that's fair. I grew up watching those.
Well, yes, but you just grew up watching Gen X stuff.
All right. I'll reword it.
old people things equals board game.
Yes, there you go.
All right, so my second law is one I mentioned last week, and I got a little bit trounced for talking about it, so I'm doubling down.
Yes,
as
double
all
down,
good,
Vasel.
as all good internet things do, and that is, if an expansion that is not called Cosmic Encounter adds more players to a game, it's unnecessary. And I mean, and I don't mean that in a meh. I mean that as I will almost absolutely refuse to add those extra players. And I have seen this time and time and time again, starting with the very classic Settlers of Catan, to the point where when I first got into the hobby, I was behind the curve. When I got into the modern board games, I didn't know anything about Settlers of Catan. So I bought it and instantly bought the 5 to 6 player expansion. Instantly. Because I said, well, I might play with 5 to 6 players. And I'm kind of annoyed they didn't put these in the box originally. What a bunch of money grubbers they are. And then I played it with 5 or 6, and you know what? It's subjectively, because it's my opinion, but most people agree with me, it's worse with 5 or 6. The game is very long. They add a rule that you can
build in between every player's turn, but not trade.
but you can only trade with the person whose turn it is.
Yes, but they have to be so they will have to want to trade.
Which can make weird things. I'll be like, Chris, I want to trade you this, so Wendy, I'll trade you this, and then you trade him, and it's so dumb.
It's a math trade in the middle of Settlers of Catan.
But that's not I mean, consistently, boxes, expansions will have a 5th player, 6th player, 7th player, whatever. For some reason it works in Cosmic Encounter, but it does not work in almost every other game I've played. Now, why am I so adamant against this? Well, one, the main reason is because I think it makes the game a worse experience. When you play with that many players, you're going to play with a lot of people, and it just isn't as fun. As with every law, there will be exceptions. I mentioned Cosmic Encounter. I've heard a lot of good things about Fields of Aral. Went from a 2 to a 3-player game, and it worked well with 3. But I've never played it because it's a really good 2-player game. But it usually lengthens a game considerably, sometimes to the point of taking a game I love and making it bad. In fact, a subset of my rule is if a Euro game says something to something, the top number should say -1. Now, that's not quite true.
Sure.
There's a lot of Euro games that say something to 4, and they work great with 4. But if they say 5 and above, I'm always wary. I'm like, we'll try it with 4 first, please.
It's hard to want to do a 5-player game of anything. Yeah.
So that's one reason. Another reason is I don't like when there's an expansion for a game and there's stuff in it that I want to get, but I'm forced to buy that extra player. You know, it's a way to pad out the expansion.
Okay.
So I pay $20, $30 for the expansion. 10 of those dollars are for that extra player. I would have just preferred the extra rolls, the extra cards. Sometimes there's extra components for the game. There's more resources, more stuff that they have to put in for the extra player. And sometimes it dominates the expansion. This is a lesser reason, but it is one of my reasons because that is the way it is. So I don't want to play another player. Race for the Galaxy is a good. I don't need more players. For Race for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy already had too many players in the base game. You know, so those are really my 2 main reasons. Now, if you love playing this, that's fine. I'm not saying don't get them, but the complaint was, should companies do it? And I will always recommend that they don't. But it still happens. So a good example of this was when I was involved with Sheriff of Nottingham. I think Sheriff of Nottingham works marvelously with up to 5. They want that as 6-player. I tested it, way too long. So they did add the 6-player anyway, but they changed it so that there were basically 2 deputies at the same time. And it's fine. It works fine. You know how many players I play it with? 5.
Sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, part of it too is when a game is turn-based, right? You can find little exceptions here and there. Simultaneous games typically are going to be more okay, right? Even in simultaneous games, though, there is the chance that one person at the table is taking a bit longer of a turn, and when you go from 5 players to 8 players or something, that still slows down even though it's simultaneous, right?
I agree.
And so,
yeah, sure.
I don't think there's a perfect genre of game that is foolproof for this. That's second law proof, maybe I should say.
Well, no. Whenever I say law, I mean I'm being facetious. I don't find anyone to follow them. And also you can find an exception to anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying, as a matter of course, I can't remember the last time I've wanted an expansion for more players. I'm sure there was a game that I wanted to do it with.
I know early on in our gaming, and I totally think that your rule applies, but early on in our gaming, we had a group of 6 family members. And so whenever we'd have like a Sunday dinner, we'd play 6-player Catan or 6-player Dominion. And it was longer.
6-player Dominion.
Yeah, no, it was longer. It broke some cards. It made torturer absolutely torturing. So it created messes, but we did it because we wanted to play as a family.
And I get why people do that.
So I do get why people do it. I don't think it's a terrible idea to always, say
But we had 6 on Saturday, and I was like, 2 groups of 3, please.
But I would, at this point in my gaming experience, I would always split.
And if I had 6 people in the family and they want to play a game together, I'd be like, all right, what party game do y'all want to play? And there's also a few other games that do work well with 6 players. Not a ton, but a few. But I also get that there are some people who do not want to split up. There's 8 people, they want to play 8. Go for it. Buy these expansions. Play the 4-hour version of the game. It's fine, but I still think it's a bad idea, and I can say so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it just...
We need
I'm
the
just not that
14-player
interested in it.
expansion for Seven Wonders. Do you have that?
The what?
The 14-player expansion for Seven Wonders?
I think you could just play that by shuffling 2 decks together.
That's what I was thinking. The expansion is just a separate game.
But then there would be duplicate cards going around.
You'd have to have 2 decks on each side of the table.
This is like Dungeons, games like Dungeons. We're gonna homebrew a 21-player game of 17 Wonders. Let's do
Please
it.
do that as a convention just to see if it works.
No. Come to the Dice Hour Retreat. Wendy will play
Don't give
21 player
Don't
7
give Wendy
Wonders with
power.
you.
No. Again, I don't have to be in those games. Because like Chris says, even if it's all simultaneous, your chance goes up of having someone who's slower.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's Tom's second law. Let's keep going.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Pitch Car is one of my favourite dexterity style games. Ever since I got it earlier this year, it has hit the table numerous times and been some flicking good fun. Now, it is effectively an analogue version of Scalextrics. You set up this track and you're going to be flicking your discs, your cars around the track and trying not to go off and not flip over and stuff like that, and just trying to win the race basically. Now recently I got the Pitch Car #1 extension. This is the first expansion. I've got a number of them, and I have to say this is #1, not only in terms of it's the first, it's the best expansion that I have got so far. This jump is what makes Pitch Car go to the next level. Yes, this box has many other pieces. It's got sort of curved pieces with double roots. It's even got a bit that thins part of a straight and sort of creates a bit of a bottleneck. That's great, but when these cars leave the track and fly through the air, you feel like anything can happen. That person in first place, that normal casual little flick that would get them across the finish line, if they got to do that jump, they could go flying off the track. They could hit that, go off in the wrong direction, they could do it too weak and stick and stay on the jump itself. And then it's just fun because it's a jump. It really does take the fun of Pitch Car and just ramps it up. I know that's really bad. But anyway, that's Pitch Car, and enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Today we're taking a look at something called Triazzle. This is from Think Fun, who makes all the puzzle games. Triazzle is... I had 3 of these. I don't know where the third one went. And in fact, I'm missing 2 pieces from this one also. I do know where those went. They
Like
fell behind the shelf.
3, 3, 3.
Huh?
Try, and you had 3 of them?
So this is not particularly new. These have existed since I was a kid. They used to sell them at every gift shop I went to, but they sold them in squares. They were a 3x3 grid of squares that had different things around the outside, and then you had to attach them all so they fit together. This is the same thing, except now there's a frame here on the outside.
That's where the try comes from. I knew that.
And then you place these in here, and they all, you have to place it so that the butterflies match. So I place this in here.
On all sides.
So terribly, on all sides. I hate these. I really hate this. I have this butterfly one I worked at for a long time. I sat, for example, said, okay, in this corner, how many pieces fit in this corner? Let's say it was 3 pieces. Okay, so if I put that piece in there, then how many pieces will fit here? And I narrowed it down, and I got to a pretty good spot. I'm like, okay, and I filled it in, and then the last 5 pieces didn't fit in, so I undid it slowly. I undid it slowly and realized I don't think there's any possible way for it to work with those 3 pieces. So then I tried 3 other pieces, and then I realized the permutations of that were immense. Even with me, I'm not just brute forcing it straight. I was trying to think ahead and work ahead. I couldn't do it.
You need to number every location on there, write the numbers on the back of every tile, and as you decide that it can't be in a certain location, you mark it off. If you're like, none of these can be 1s, you cross out all the 1s on all the 1 tiles.
Okay, I could see that. And that would, I could see it coming down to only a certain number of pieces in a spot. Like Sudoku almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also, the only way I could figure to solve these things is by brute force, and I don't find that to be particularly fun. I like to solve things by logic. And you could argue and say, yes, you use logic. Okay, so this one fits perfectly there.
But it
again,
could still
like
be
the only way,
the wrong piece.
It still could be the wrong piece. If that one fits there, and then you work in, I don't know. As a kid, I found those squares really frustrating, but I would get them eventually because there's only so many permutations. There's more in these.
There's way more.
Now, these are pretty. The butterfly one, and I got this one here is C.
Yeah,
I
they are
forget what
pretty.
the other one was called. But yeah,
I'll tell you, Tom.
you want it. Okay, it's
I
yours.
would hate this.
It's yours. You just asked for it. Didn't everyone hear Chris say that?
I have 3 of the same butterflies, and none of them fit together, and
This is
it's
like
driving me nuts.
This is like the old Legend of Zelda cartoon. You ever watch that, Tom? This is both pieces of the Triforce right here. This is going in the recycling bin, by the way.
Well, I think those pieces might be behind the counter somewhere. Give it to a child. Make someone's day. I don't know. I've given this to all my kids, and they worked on it and got very frustrated. And they like jigsaw puzzles. I don't like jigsaw puzzles, so I'm coming in with that. I find jigsaw... You like jigsaw puzzles, right?
Oh, no.
Oh. You like jigsaw puzzles?
No.
Oh, never mind. then.
I'm not good at them.
I find jigsaw puzzles to be a interesting activity, but again, it's brute force, really. You're not, I mean, yes, you separate it by colors and yada yada, but at the end of the day, you're going, I think this piece goes here. It does not. I'll play this piece.
I enjoy them for a little bit of, I don't know, they fit that kind of solo-ness that I enjoy, that introvert time.
Oh,
a little bit.
I was going to say the opposite. The only time I'll do one is if I'm standing around a table with a bunch of other people and we're
really?
talking while doing it.
No, I'll just sit and fiddle with it for a little bit, but it's once a year.
All right. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
that's
I hate
called
jigsaw puzzles.
Triazzle. I'm
Make
giving
that
it a
clear.
4 out of 10 for me. But I mean, they are pretty. So it's just not for me at all. I hate them.
One of the things I love the most about the board game hobby is its inclusivity. There's a ton of big publishers out there and we love their games, but you can also just be a regular person with an idea and a dream and make a game and make something really cool that people find and play. I love that aspect of the hobby. I was recently performing in Oregon and I had a couple drive 3 hours to watch me perform, and we were talking after the show and they were like, hey, we made a game. Do you want to play it? And I was like, yeah, totally, why not? And it's a really fun little box game called What's Your Problem? This is a great game if you have funny friends, if you're surrounded by people who are creative and like storytelling. It's very simple. One player reveals a solution card, and then you make up whatever problem you want for that solution. So if the card was if the solution is super smart seagulls, what's your problem? Yeah, well, I went to the beach and I forgot my snacks and I needed to get my army of super smart seagulls on stealing other people's snacks for me. So, or how about if the solution is onion-scented perfume, what's your problem? Well, I went through all the normal dating apps with no luck and I got onto vampiresonly.com. So hopefully I find a mate there, but I don't want to let them too close. So it's just like that. You're just improving answers and having a silly, fun time. That's What's Your Problem?
I did it, Tom. I did it. I did it.
I also did mine, but don't look too closely. That game does not sound particularly interesting. But all right, so
What's your problem?
you need to give me the problem. I mean, the solution.
The solution is,
This.
Norwals with laser beams on their heads. What's your problem, Tom?
My problem is it's a rip. I have this rip off of an Austin Power movie. Anywho, hey folks, thanks so much for watching our much shorter board game breakfast than normal. But we'll be back at 10 with Z, and then at 11 with me doing Q&A. So there's more stuff coming your way, and then we got stuff coming out all week. Tomorrow is At the Table Live. Wednesday is Crowd Surfing Live. Thursday is Board Game Breakfast / worst board game covers of all time, and Friday is the Fox Experiment. Right?
Yep.
So we got live stuff every day this week, which you should enjoy because there'll be a little bit less of it next week. So anyhow. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm not doing this puzzle.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.